Hello again, everyone, and welcome to our Orange Power podcast, talking some Oklahoma State Cowgirl basketball. Casey Kendrick along with the head coach, Jacie Hoyt. And Coach, you know, we haven't had many tough weeks, right, to talk about these things, but we do have a couple of losses to talk about. But, you know, that's all part of the process, and, you know, that's the thing, and we're going to talk about the games, but when we say trust the process, when coaches say trust the process, this is really when they mean trust the process. When the things aren't going your way and it's obvious, now's when you got to go, okay, I got to trust what we're doing.
Yeah, you do, and that is really hard when you're not getting the results that you want. But I think also from a coaching perspective, you know, you have to look at the types of losses, how you lost, and I mean, you know, one of those losses is a 10-point loss to Texas, who is ranked 11th in the country. And you can see it on the board over there. We actually looked at we did the math on the point differential of all the other wins that Texas has. And to be within 10 points, I mean, we felt really good about that, actually, when it was all said and done. And then, you know, a close Cincinnati loss that was just gut-wrenching, a 2-point loss. And so my point is, when you're right there, you really just have to trust that you just have to stick with it. And, you know, it's just a few little tweaks here and there that could leave you feeling completely different.
Well, and so let's talk about that. You know, let's just go to the Texas game, Coach, a game in which you guys came out a little bit flat, quite honest, and you said maybe the first period was kind of our downfall. But you guys tied that thing up at 45 apiece in the third quarter. You guys ended up with is 55-53 at one point after being tied at 45. So you were hanging in there. And then, you know, just their size and their length and their athleticism start to become very problematic.
Well, they were definitely problematic inside, and they are, I mean, to their credit, they are so big and so physical down there. We gave up way too many rebounds, and, you know, you're mad in the moment, and then going back and watching film, we got to find taller players to recruit because there were a few of those that, you know, our kids are doing everything right. They're in position, they're boxing out, and the player can just still reach right over the top and put it back. So a lot of it's just, it is what it is, and we got to find, you know, more creative ways to do some other things. But I think ultimately their size definitely wore on us.
You know, and that's interesting, Coach, because everybody wants the 6'6" post, right? Everybody wants the 6'3" point guard. They're just not everywhere. But does a game like that truly redirect your recruiting process? And now, again, they're leaving this league, but there's still a lot of big. You look at Ioka Lee and kids in Kansas State and Iowa State. It goes on and on. Does that redirect what you guys put on the board? Is okay, here's now what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think anytime you play a team, you know, you're kind of evaluating your roster versus their roster, and the teams that are having success, the teams that aren't. I mean, the thing with what you just said, post players and point guards, there's just not a lot out there. I mean, if someone is over 6'3", then you can just bet that everyone in the country is going to recruit them. So it's never from a lack of trying. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot out there. And I think, you know, we actually have a couple really good ones in Praise and Hannah. They were not who they needed to be that game, for sure. But I do feel good about our future.
Well, and the rebounding, Coach, 39-24. I mean, honestly, that wasn't effort, you know. Will or skill. I think you threw that term at me recently. Somebody did anyway. And I think your kids had the will and they have the skill. But again, sometimes then there's that third element. It is size. They're there, but give Texas credit. They were able to get those rebounds. And the rebounding differential probably was the difference in the ballgame.
No doubt. You know, just when you give a team that many second chance opportunities, and they capitalized on them. I want to say they had 12 points off of second chance opportunities or something to that extent. And then some of them we fouled, put them at the free throw line. So that's, you know, an extra 4 points. So, I mean, that's the difference in the game. And I really believe wholeheartedly that rebounding wins not just games, but championships. And you've got to do it.
40 points in the paint for Texas. They only shot 17%, though, outside. Coach, you guys did a good job of keeping them off the line. Of course, if you're getting inside and getting the easy points, maybe you don't need as many threes. I think they only took 6 of them. But you guys did a good job in that regard of really guarding their shooters and not giving them those outside looks. They at least had to earn those points.
They did. I thought, again, watching film, I thought that defensively our game plan was a good game plan. I thought we executed it well, but when we're holding them to that low percentage but not finishing with the rebound, that's the difference in the game.
Well, and just to emphasize your point of the board, you played them closer than Arizona, closer than UConn, certainly closer than some other Big 12 schools. So that has been that's a really good a place for you guys to be and to grow from. So now we go to Cincinnati for the first time as a conference foe. Actually, the first time we've actually ever played them out there. The only game was a neutral site prior to that. And, Coach, we knew going in, and you and I talked about it, their record means nothing. Their struggles mean nothing. They're long, they're good rebounding, and they're better than their record, and certainly they proved to be that.
They were. I thought that they were very hungry. I actually thought their crowd was pretty solid. I think that was one of their bigger crowds that they've had based off game film. And then another thing, they started a post player that had been playing really well for them. And one thing I realized the more I got into the scout was that they had been playing without a lot of their best players for those early conference games. So we saw a different Cincinnati team than I think some of the other teams have seen. But I still feel like we let that one go, and we needed to finish that one off.
Well, and interesting, just a little side note, they had a great student section, and we kept going, man, that's crazy, that's awesome. Well, as it turned out, they were all student athletes, the football team, the soccer team, women's team, and they honored them at halftime. So they, whether they were forced to be there, whatever, but it created a good setting for them and a great student section. And early on, certainly they were a factor.
They definitely were. I mean, and just we've had many conversations about how important crowds are, and that's where I'll just go back to, just the power of your fans and what they can do to help dictate a game and help you, come up, either get over the top and win a game or be a little bit short just based off the energy. And they had great energy there.
Really struggled shooting. I told Ryan Cameron in pregame, this doesn't feel like a good shooter's gym to me because the depth perception, there's different layers behind the baskets, and the score clock is transparent. Just some really oddities that I thought, I wonder if that'll be a factor. Well, I don't know if it was or not. I just know we didn't shoot well at all early, yet we were still very much in that ball game. And I know you guys had to feel good at halftime going, we didn't play anywhere close to Cowgirl basketball, yet we are very much in this ball game.
Those are the hardest games, I think, to coach in or look back and say what I could have done different or should have done different, because you're right. I mean, early on in the first quarter, for example, I mean, we got as good of looks as we've got all year, and normally we make those. And so from a coaching standpoint, you don't feel like you need to make adjustments because you're getting what you need to get or want to get, but we're not making shots. And sometimes it's just like that. You're going to have an off night. I thought defensively we needed to be much better because you're going to have those offensive nights where you're just off. And that's where defensively we needed to be more intense. I thought that we were way more passive than we normally are. I'm not sure what that's about. I got to figure that out. But I thought that the game for us was actually lost on the defensive end just because offensively, I mean, we got what we wanted. We just didn't make shots.
And yet you only gave up 58 points, right? I mean, it's not like they put 80 on you. They put 58 up. And so, but it's interesting, again, knowing that you still gave them some buckets you didn't want to give. They were able to they beat you in second chance points. They beat you in points off turnovers. They were very efficient. Yeah, 14 turnovers is not crazy. It's not, I mean, I know it's more than you want, but they had 15 points off of that. And you guys, you had, I don't know, 6-7 offensive rebounds, but only got a bucket out of that. So it was just, they were just more efficient in some of those areas.
I thought they were more efficient. They were very timely. So, obviously timely turnovers for us that give them points, or timely rebounds. We were up 2, play a great defensive possession, don't finish and get the rebound, and then they tie it up. So just timely things that you have to do down the stretch to win those games.
You guys took a 5-point deficit and turned it to a 5-point lead that fast in the first half, and I thought, okay, here we go. And then they were able to come back, and then you got up by 5 again. You know, it was those moments where if we could have stretched it to 8, 10, 12, maybe created that doubt. But for whatever reason, you know, up by 5, good shot, just wouldn't fall, and we never could extend it to get them very uncomfortable.
No, we couldn't. I felt like if we could just get it to a 3-possession game,
Right.
In a game like that where both teams were kind of struggling, then you're feeling okay and have just a little bit of breathing room, you know, in those last few minutes. But we just couldn't turn that corner. And to their credit, they just kept chipping away and responding each time.
They did indeed. All right, so let's go to the end of the ball game, Coach. I want to go past we had a chance to take the final shot. They get a run-out bucket, go up by 2. Now then, here's where we get to learn about Coach Jacie Hoyt. All right, are we going to inbound it? You got 4 very good three-point shooters on the floor, and Ryan and I discussed this during the broadcast. It was just kind of fun to go through that. Or are they going to space the floor? Because you want to take the 2 if it's there, or you want to take the 3 if that, whatever the easiest shot is, but you don't have time to think about it, right? So you're going to have to figure it out. The inbound floor spaced very well. Inbound went over the top to Hannah. You're going to trust Hannah because she is such a big presence inside. It didn't work out. But was that always the thought to go inside, or was there, hey, no, if somebody pops open for 3, let's go there first? What'd you guys talk about?
Well, we work a lot on those special situations in practice. We do every time that we've got a shoot around on game day. We talk about what we think we can get against that particular team. I thought we got about as good of a look right at the rim as we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that you have to take into consideration, and special situations are hard because things are constantly changing. But, you know, for example, some of our better shooters or leading scorers aren't our best free throw shooters. And so if you've got a chance to, you know, in that case, we were down 2. So you want to put the ball in someone's hands that you feel confident in, but also that if they go to the line, they're going to be able to produce there.
And one of your best free throw shooters is Hannah Guster. She's just slipped slightly behind Quincy Noble, but she's a high 80% shooter, so obviously a great choice. And Coach, you know, I mean, we won't get into officiating, but there was an opportunity for her to get to the line late. Didn't happen. But so are you, let's just, again, I love the philosophical side of coaching. Are you a go for the win typically on the road and the tie at home, or do you think about that, or you just go, nope, this is the best opportunity, this is where we're going?
Yeah, I think you kind of have to feel things out and just know, you know, I mean, if you were shooting well or someone had a hot hand leading up to that, that's a little bit different than if you were really cold and how you're going to decide that. But our staff spends a lot of time, and we've got a notebook, and we say, you know, if this person has the hot hand, here's what we're going to do. And we have a list for every single player. And, you know, one of the things that was a little bit tricky the possession before Hannah's shot was that there were 17 seconds. So it's not like you just inbound it and, you know, go attack. I mean, you kind of got to wait that out because you want to take the last shot.
Sure.
Well, then obviously, you know, that we turn the ball over and you can't do that. So, I mean, we spent a lot of time, though, having meetings and talking, what will we do in this case? What will we do in that case? And kind of scripting things out the best that we can. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, and the other thing with that, again, the spacing was good. It was a one-on-one play initially, and you never know. She may make it and go to the line to win it, which was a great opportunity as well. All right, so, Coach, that was obviously a tough one, and here's what's crazy. Now you're getting ready to take on Baylor, at Iowa State, Oklahoma, Kansas State. Maybe the toughest 4 stretch that we're going to face all year long. Nobody cares outside our locker room, right? What happened? You got to go find a way to now go be tougher to some really good teams here.
Yes, you do. I mean, there's no time to feel sorry for yourself. Yeah, I got a text from both my parents, and I was just like, this is just so par for the course with them. But the first sentence that my dad said was, time to put your big girl pants on. And my mom said, you know, you can't feel sorry for yourself. I mean, no excuses. And so that's exactly right, though. And while those games hurt and you want to make excuses, you want to point to the officiating or whatever, no one cares. And you just have to find a way to pick yourself back up. And the thing with this conference is that all those teams, on paper right now are better than us. They've got better records, maybe even playing better. But we got to find a way, and I think that we will. I like the character of our team. I like the kids that we've got and their response when things are hard. So we're going to give it hell and just see how we can find a way to turn it around.
Well, and, again, Kansas just beat Iowa State. TCU came back, got a win. Kansas State went over Baylor. So this league's crazy. Anything can happen on any given night, and that's the beauty of the Big 12. It for sure is. Last chance, Coach. We'll probably have a chance really to talk before the crowd and an opportunity to invite the crowd here. Sunday against Baylor is huge. And I know we say it all the time, but I just don't think you can overstate how important it is, and we would certainly love to have. Let's get 4,500 in there.
Absolutely. No, I mean, we had a great crowd last year when we beat them, and that was for a season sweep. And I just got to say, whether it's for the moment of the game and the presence and the energy, that makes a huge difference. And then, long-term recruiting, when we can show our recruits when they come on campus, look at these pictures, look at these videos of our crowds. This crowd, is the crowd that we had to beat Baylor. Crowd for OU last year was amazing. That stuff matters in the recruiting game. So whether it's, helping us win right now, helping us win down the road, our fans make a huge difference.
Hey, Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for us. For Coach Jacie Hoyt, I'm Casey Kendrick. We'll see you guys next time on the Orange Power Podcast.